Hello, everybody, and welcome to PlayStation Access and this very special State of Play After Party, where we have just seen 20 minutes of breathtaking Final Fantasy XVI gameplay. Oh, I was trying to take notes, Rosie, throughout that State of Play.
I'm looking at the notes and it's maximum 3 words because you were so glued.
I'm trying to I can't take my eyes off the screen. Welcome everybody. Hello to you all, wherever you are in the world. If this is your very first PlayStation Access After Party, this is something we do after every State of Play. In particular, Rosie and I are incredibly excited about this one. Final Fantasy
knew this
16.
After Party was our show.
Yeah, it's ours.
It's
Fashion
ours now.
Dave, go away. This is our time. This is for us.
Let us talk about Final Fantasy, guys.
Yes. So we're just here to react and to be excited about Final Fantasy 16, and hopefully you are as well.
Oh, Rob, I can tell you already.
What have we got in the comments, Rosie? What's the vibe?
Everyone is hyped. Everyone is excited. Literally, before we went live, I've been having a read as well, and everyone's just absolutely. Everyone's saying like Kiwi Kratos says, "Wow, that was amazing." I saw someone as well. Where is it? Where's the comment? I really liked it. Oh, where's it gone? But someone said I have to clean my chin because my jaw was on the floor the whole time and stuff like that.
That's a good way of saying your jaw's on the floor. I've not heard that one before.
Dev08 says, raise your hands if you're super excited. So, it's insane. And even since we've gone live, everyone's saying hello. And now everyone, like Mr. Midas Game says, hype. RD Clark.
Mr. Midas is in the chat. Hi, Mr. Midas. Hello. How are you? Also in the chat is Alex, our community coordinator. He's in the chat as PlayStation Access. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
And hello to all of you. I can't read any of the comments from here, Rosie, because my eyesight is quite bad. Even
honestly, everyone is just
But there's loads of people.
Everyone is just going crazy.
Avalon
with how
says
hyped.
Final Fantasy 16 looks gorgeous. We're going to try and apply some kind of structure to the gasping excitement here. But the first thing I've written down, Rosie, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't. It's just in capitals, Moogles. Because the first thing I saw, and it made me very excited, and it was the first of a couple of things in Final Fantasy 16 that I really enjoyed in terms of nodding and making reference to the series legacy.
Yeah.
The Moogles look very traditional. Very looking Moogles. We've got this really sort of distinctive looking, ridiculously lavish, beautiful, larger-than-life fantasy world with these incredible pieces of architecture, these enormous palaces, dwarfed by, bigger than mountain-sized shards of crystal that dominate the land. It visually looks incredible. And then, these little Moogles, the little Moogle comes on, and immediately I'm like, that's Final Fantasy. And
they looked so soft, and I love the one that they showed in the showcase because he was just a little plump Moogle, and I was just like, I want to cuddle him.
I think his name was Otto.
Or something.
He was in charge of the hunt.
Yeah,
board,
the
bounty board.
Yeah.
We saw a little hunt against an Ahriman. Ahriman, is that how you pronounce it? The Mike Wazowskis with wings.
Yeah,
But immediately, I love stuff like that. And skipping ahead now, there was the bit where they showed Clive speaking to that character called Harpocrates.
Yes.
The little
Final Fantasy
pixel animations and character sprites. Not only that, but the sound effect of that little progress bar, whatever it was. I'm not going to try and replicate the sound with my actual mouth, but it was such a Final Fantasy sound, like a proper old school Final Fantasy sound effect.
Well, literally, because the earliest Final Fantasy, I want to play all of them, but the earliest I've played is 6, and the animation you saw at the end when they put their arms in the air, that is the exact animation and body style that you see the Final Fantasy 6 characters use and stuff like that. So immediately I saw that, I was like, oh my god, that is Final Fantasy 6, which is just absolutely fantastic.
It is, and it's earlier as well, that sort of battle celebration animation.
Yeah.
Woo!
And they have their little they got proud chests as well, the way you can see their pixels. So it always is just
very soon, Rosie, you will be able to experience all of the old Final Fantasies when the
Because
Pixel
the Pixel
remaster comes to
comes
PS4,
out.
which we're not going to get distracted by and talk about now because this is all about Final Fantasy XVI. But as a long-time Final Fantasy fan, that was, out of everything that they showed today, and there was lots of ridiculously exciting looking stuff, that was the stuff that got me right here. I was like, oh, it's Final Fantasy. It sounded like Final Fantasy. It looked like Final Fantasy, and that makes me more excited than any sort of skyscraper-sized battle between two Eikons, which is also quite exciting.
It reminded me as well, just with the little pixel characters. I'm just throwing that out there. It reminded me of Yakuza Like a Dragon, which has the little pixel characters as well, but in the style of Dragon Quest. So when I saw that as well, I was just like, yes, people love that, and now you're doing it, Final Fantasy. Yes, bring us the little pixel characters.
I'm so excited, Rosie. You obviously have played the game already.
Oh yes.
I have not played the game, but my goodness, like the gameplay in this. The comment about the jaw being on the floor for the entire time. It just looks relentlessly intense and breathtaking and beautiful. Just walking around the world. But I don't know if we need to go into the combat straight away. Let's start with the world map navigation stuff and just
ease into it.
The locations, because that was sort of like the first thing they showed us in the state of play. Was okay. Here's the world map. You navigate the world map by, as you do. But then they showed off like a variety, and that's what did it for me. Like the sheer variety, the visual variety of locations. Oh, I just can't wait to explore them all, Rosie. That one where it's just like a horizon of waterfalls.
Yeah, there was that. I really like one where I think we only saw a glimpse of it, but there was just I'm guessing it was like yellow flowers. It was just a field of yellow flowers. I was like, I want to take lots of pictures there. I want Clive and Torgal to be very happy in the bunch of flowers.
I am gonna do so much just slow pans, taking screenshots.
I'm gonna
not getting through the story.
I'm going to take so many pictures in each area. I'm going to do exactly what I did probably in Dragon Quest XI and just take pictures of everywhere I go. So my PS5 memory is going to be full of pictures.
There was the one bit as well that made me shout out loud. It's when we saw the ship going through the water. The water looked amazing.
Yeah, I really liked how the ship really did sound like a drift in the water.
Yeah.
It really was just like... You saw the waves clashing against it in like a really aggressive way. I was like, wow, that looks like a cool ship.
Yes.
To be like driving in the water.
Absolutely. But yeah, it was just the variety on offer. I mean, one of the things I love about Final Fantasy games is that classic story where you journey across the world.
Yeah.
And you get that amazing variety of locations. There's usually an ice level. There's usually a volcano.
Usually a water level. A woods level, like one in the forest.
But it looks like we're being treated to an absolute feast of, and the fact that it's fantasy as well. Like, I love, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. But in terms of the setting, the one that I am a biggest fan of is that traditional high fantasy setting.
Yeah.
Which it really looks like. Valisthea, the setting of Final Fantasy XVI, is sort of really leading into that. But as I mentioned before, like those cities that have been built in the shadow of these absolutely colossal chunks of crystal. Like visually, it's so unlike anything I've seen before. Like it's like, I saw the concept art for it when they first announced the game. Seeing it actually in game, I'm like, oh my God, it's one of those rare instances where the final game actually looks, if anything, even more grandiose than the concept art. Like,
honestly, I mean, from the section that I was very honoured to play, already the visuals are so like genuinely striking and beautiful. And when I saw that crystal, like you're saying, the crystal that the world's built upon, I can only imagine how that's going to look when you're actually there playing it and you're in your little home environment and it's there in front of you. I'm so excited to see the crystal in all of its glory because I can already tell it's going to look amazing.
There's like a real sort of, for me anyway, like a sense of mystery behind it as well. Like, where did these crystals come from? It's a theme and a motif. That motif of crystals is prevalent throughout Final Fantasy's history. and the way they implement them into the story is always a little bit different each time. I'm really looking forward to discovering what that is all about. And we got little teases of story in this. When they were showing the battle stuff, they were like, here's a selection of enemies that Clive can face. There was one that was like, the Fallen, or whatever they called it, like a remnant of a bygone civilization, which really intrigued me. And I was like, oh, I do like an ancient lost civilization sort of backstory. I thought, oh yes,
give that to me.
I love that kind of thing. So I'm intrigued by the story. The setting looks incredible. It was really cool to finally get clarification on what is going on with Clive in the game. Because I don't know if anyone watching this has felt the same, but you've seen the trailers and I'm like, why does Clive... Is that Clive? Clive looks really young here. Now Clive looks a bit more grizzled. What's going on? And we got actual confirmation that the will chronicle Clive's life in his teenage years, in his 20s and in his 30s. So we're going to start off in his 20s, and the section where we get even younger Clive in his teenage years is presented as like a playable flashback.
Yes.
So quite how that's going to play out in the story, we don't know.
As Joshua as well, which I was not expecting.
Yes.
I saw that they just showed a little bit of playing as Joshua, and I was like, oh. So not only is it a flashback, it's a flashback, and you play as Joshua in the flashback.
So when you got your hands on, Rosie, were you playing as 20s Clive?
So
not teenage Clive.
The tutorial was like 20s Clive, but literally that was like a small segment, and then everything else I believe was 20s Clive.
Okay.
If I'm to guess, because
not baby-faced young Clive.
Not baby-faced young Clive. It was
grizzled, cool.
It was either, was it 30s or 20s? Maybe it was
one of them.
Maybe it was 30s Clive, because I'm guessing that 30s Clive is when he's with Sid. This is all just guessing. 20s Clive is when, at the beginning of this state of play, they showed him and he was like in some kind of like troop or some kind of like battle army group.
Yeah.
So my guess is that that's going to be the 20s phase, and then teenage is going to be with Clive and Joshua living in there.
The flashback.
The little flashback segment. So if I'm to guess, I'm guessing that that's sort of a way you can maybe distinguish them. So if that's the case, when I played it, he'd be in his 30s, I'm guessing.
Okay.
This is all just guess, though. Okay. If I turn out to be right,
excellent.
I'm like, yes.
Thank you for all your guesswork, Rosie. But what we do know is that all of those are Clive, and it's good to finally get some, proper clarification on it. I'm looking forward to playing as Clive throughout his teens, 20s and 30s.
Yeah, I'm just all of Clive, and everyone in the chat as well. It's just, honestly, I'm reading them as we've been chatting, and so many people have mentioned things that we're going to talk about, such as the music and the combat and Torgal as well. So many other things I can see everyone being hyped for. So that is just so cool.
Who have we got in the chat? Any familiar names?
We've got lots of familiar names. We have got let's have a look. We've also got some lovely new names as well, which is fantastic to see.
Welcome to the channel if this is your first time visiting PlayStation Access.
Hello.
Hello.
We like Final Fantasy here. But yeah, we got good old Domino. We've got Emma Clark. We've got, just scrolling through, Crooked Vulture. So we've got lots of regulars and also lots of new wonderful faces. Like Ariel Stam, who says hello.
Ariel's a regular, Rosie.
Is Ariel a regular?
Pay attention in the chat in streams.
I always pay attention to the chat.
Ariel's a regular. Hello, everybody. Whether you're a regular or you're a newcomer to the channel, it's great to have you here with us.
Everyone's saying hello now.
We're going to talk about Chocobos now, Rosie, because I refuse to call them Chocobos, even though officially that's the correct pronunciation. I always call them Chocobos.
Sorry, I have to say sorry to Ariel first. I'm really sorry, Ariel. I just saw the name and I was
can't
just
believe
like...
you're like, Ariel Stambau. That's a new name. No.
I don't. I'm really sorry.
Ariel's in the chat all the time.
Anyway, I'm really, really sorry. I feel terrible now.
So you should. But let's start making you feel better, Rosie, by talking about Chocobos, because
I love the Chocobos.
There was Chocobo drifting. I saw a little bit of Chocobo drifting.
A bit of Chocobo floating.
Yeah,
when it flapped its little wings. I was like, yeah, there's Chocobo floating.
I do love riding a. It's not a Final Fantasy game if you can't ride a chocobo, and it's just iconic, and they're back, and I love it. There were. So should we go on to the battle stuff, because that was like intense and
Are we
amazing.
doing battle stuff, or do you want to talk about Torgal? Whilst we're
I think you want to talk about Torgal, don't you, Rose?
Is Torgal not in
All
your list of things to talk about?
Well,
because if that's the case, that list is wrong.
I've written Republican War Panther.
The panther that's just on its back just the whole time, like, you got me.
I liked the Republican War Panther. I didn't write Torgal down, and the reason I didn't write Torgal down, Rosie, was because during that bit, I was just too fixated on what was happening on the screen.
Because Torgal
to write down Torgal.
Is such a good boy. Like, already it's been confirmed
Yes.
you can pet Torgal and give him treats and everything.
You can do more than pet Torgal. Yeah, give him treats.
Give him treats.
We were actively encouraged in the state of play to give Torgal treats.
Yes.
And
you have to give him, because he's a good boy. They said he's a good boy.
They did.
And
confirmed, officially
confirmed.
Official
and
good boy. And
he's so good in battle as well, being your little assistant. I mean, you could see it in the state of play. There was like, for example, he does a move when he kind of goes into a spin ball and then he goes red. I'm guessing it gets like fire damage or something, but I was like, yes, go on, Torgal, you're such a good boy. And he just goes with you on your adventures, and he helps you even when you're walking around and stuff. Torgal is honestly just the best boy. The best boy, and I can't wait. If anything happens to Torgal, I will cry. I will cry my eyes out.
Nothing's going to happen to Torgal.
Torgal is just the best boy.
Torgal's going to be fine, Rosie. Don't worry about Torgal. Torgal will be fine.
Torgal will be fine.
Definitely, Torgal will
better
be fine. Torgal will be fine. If you're watching, anyone from Square Enix who's making the game, Torgal better be fine.
If you've already made plans, change them so that Torgal is absolutely fine.
I'm sure Torgal will be fine, Rosie. Don't just worry.
He's a
Torgal
good boy.
Will be fine.
Torgal's the best boy.
But speaking about how Torgal can help you in battle, there are also, so you're only going to control Clive in battle, and any companions that happen to be with you will be controlled by the AI. But I think controlling Clive is going to be a task enough for anybody, because they made mention of the fact that they've called it the first true action RPG in the Final Fantasy series, and all of the combat is completely real time. We've seen real time elements, a lot of real time elements in recent Final Fantasies. Final Fantasy XV had a largely real time battle system. Final Fantasy VII Remake had, again, a real sort of hybrid real time crossed with traditional turn-based battle system. Final Fantasy XVI is completely real-time, which is a brave move, I think, considering like the history of Final Fantasy and the legacy of it, and how it's. But you know, the thing for me about Final Fantasy is it's a series that defines itself by always reinventing itself. Like, it's always trying to do something different with every new installment. And so looking at it in action, I mean, you've played it, so you'll be able to give a little bit more insight here. But seeing it in action has sort of allayed any sort of fears I had that the real-time battle system wouldn't be something I'd be in for, because honestly, it just looks breathtaking in
genuinely
motion.
It's so smooth and like just brilliant. Like, there are some moments I remember when playing it where I thought, oh, I'll try and evade this attack, and then I just accidentally did not evade it. But then because of that, it led into the next scene, but it didn't feel as if it still felt as if it was my fault because I messed up the timing.
Yeah.
So like, it just all just like flowed so beautifully and naturally, and with the music building up in these like moments as well, in the cinematic moments, it all just comes together to bring such a fantastic, engaging cinematic combat experience. And with it all being in real time, it's just, honestly, just watching it and then hearing you being like, oh, this looks so good, I cannot wait for you to play it, because it's genuinely superb. You could see the visuals, but you could also feel it in the DualSense and everything. So I'm just like, even watching it, I thought, I can feel it already. I can remember how it felt to fight. So get hyped to act, like to play it, because it's something else.
It didn't. I mean, also, you said people in the chat have mentioned the music as well, which we'll get onto in a second. But from what I could see, and obviously they're just going to show off some really cool looking bits for the state of play, but it didn't look like there was any battle that was anything less than just spectacularly exciting. Like everything you fight, even if it's a Republican war panther lying on its back. I mean, that panther did nothing. Nothing.
That panther was staggered the whole
like
time. More like the relaxing...
Ice. Bring the ice magic. Yeah. Whatever.
Bring Shiva's powers.
Yeah,
it's rather hot here.
Republican war panther. Hit me with some fire. I don't care. He was having a great time. He was having a great time.
Having a great day, that panther was.
I'm looking forward to fighting it. But yeah, everything was just constantly like, oh my words, just like parrying, dodging. I mean, the whole notion of dodging, of doing a precision dodge, is something that may turn a traditional Final Fantasy fan's blood cold. But and we know there's like pedigree here. Like one of the combat directors has previously worked on the Devil May Cry series, so there's a real sort of action pedigree behind the combat system here, and I can't wait to get to grips with it, because it's like action but also flinging Final Fantasy magic all over the place at all times. And interestingly, they sort of revealed a little bit about how Clive's abilities expand and how you progress. So he learns abilities based on the icons that he has encountered throughout the game. So you not only are you fighting icons and also dominants, which are the human beings born with the power to summon icons, you are also learning your combat abilities through the icons, which is interesting.
So in the video that we put on the channel, there's a moment where so you fought the dominant for Garuda, and like literally have no idea how this works, but like when you defeat Garuda, Clive just sort of like has its hand up and then just powers go into him. So I don't know how it works for like absorb it, like how it was.
He's like the Dragonborn but for icons.
There was, oh my gosh, you just made me think, not the Dragon Ball born, but when there was a move that Clive did when he was using one of the icon abilities, and just when you said Dragonborn, it reminded me of Dragon Ball, and it reminded me so much he does like a Kamehameha kind of move.
Did, I saw
like,
that,
with the laser coming out, I was just like, oh my god, Clive's doing like a Kamehameha, but in Final Fantasy icon form. So just you saying that, I was like, oh my god, I forgot I thought this during the thing.
So we've got epic fights. We saw like really intense looking fights against some boss characters as well. Where, you know, to dodge and to parry, you have to make use of quick time events as well. But then we went a little bit further and we had a look at the icon versus icon fights. And this is really interesting because not only is that exciting in and of itself, for a Final Fantasy fan especially, seeing these iconic godlike creatures who we've summoned across generations of Final Fantasy games: Ifrit, Shiva, Titan, Ramu,
and
Bahamut,
against, like...
Phoenix, so many revealed. Now they're fighting each other and you get to control it, and the game sort of goes beyond. It's like it transcends genre when you're in these icon versus icon tussles. We saw like almost like a we were watching, it was like, this is like Resogun. It was like it was Bahamut versus Phoenix, I think. And it was almost like a 3D arcade shooter almost, but on a scale that just makes everything else I've ever seen in a video game look tiny and pathetic in comparison. Like you're shooting down mountains, you're crashing through the world, and
it's the moments where, like when the icons then start to look small. But then when you just kind of think about the environments they're in, you're like, no, they're still, like you say, they're ginormous. They are absolutely colossus-sized things.
It just looked ridiculous. Like the whole thing, like I was like, I can't believe this is a video game. And it's, again, I think it's a very brave move to sort of, they're not just making it a real-time battle system. They're like, okay, how about we throw in some elements from total other genres? It's not just enough to go for a full-on action RPG. It's like, okay, at some points when you do these fights, it's going to be like a almost like a shoot 'em up, where you're the two flying icons battling against each other, going into sort of close combat wrestling style. Ifrit.
Yeah, Clive says like
Titan.
yeah, like Ifrit, and it's just like I'll still say Ifrit. I'm sorry, but I will still say Ifrit.
It's just and there's always that thrill when a new Final Fantasy comes along and you recognize or see for the first time the summons, icons, espers, aeons, guardian forces, eidolons. You see what their new incarnations look like. I think Ramu looks amazing. He's got like proper Zeus vibes this time, just mighty bearded man with a lightning thunderbolt. Yes,
it's lightning thunderbolt. And also I have to say as well, because people in the chat have been talking about Sid, who I now call Sexy Sid. And I'm not the only one, because everyone else in the chat...
Is he going on the boyfriend list, Rosie?
Well, we need to get to know Sid, but...
I like that you've got... No one just gets on the boyfriend list.
The rule is it's one per franchise.
Oh,
and
of course.
obviously Final Fantasy is such a big franchise.
Is there a Final Fantasy character on your boyfriend list? I forget.
Yes, there is. At the moment... the thing is, I'm always like switching between them, but it's either Auron, Barrett... oh my gosh. Oh my god, I'm having a blank of the character's name.
Which game, Rosie?
Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. Begins with an A.
The chat will tell you.
Zach's mentor. I'm having a blank.
Come on, Rosie.
I'm having a blank. But literally, you remember when we streamed and I said,
yes,
he's my boyfriend.
But Sid. It looks like Sexy Sid. Voiced by Ralph Ineson.
Angeal! Thank you!
There you go.
That's Angeal. He's also a contender. But the fact I forgot Angeal's name and had a blank.
Well, he must be off. He's off the boyfriend list.
But I do love Angeal.
But would you say Sexy Sid has a chance?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even going to try and do an impression of Ralph Ineson. He's got such a distinctive voice. I think he voiced quite a lot of characters in The Witcher 3.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah, I recognise his voice a lot. And obviously he's been in movies and TV shows and all that stuff as well.
'Cause that's the thing. As soon as I found out who the voice actor was, I was like, I've never heard that voice and thought, like, it... But just hearing the voice being performed on Sid, I don't know what, it's just like a whole new character there.
He doesn't usually have a reputation for playing sexy characters.
Exactly. That's why I was just like, because I remember when I found out, I was like, oh my God. The voice actor
That's the man.
smashed it.
That's the voice man.
He's done a brilliant job. I was like, wow. And now he's blessed us with a sexy Sid.
Yes.
And the chat agrees.
Does the chat agree that Sid is sexy?
Yeah, well, for example, Mr. Futigo said, one thing I keep noticing is Sid's voice. Like, goddamn. Like,
people, we like Sid. We like Sid.
People liking Sid.
I mean, that's cool. What I like about it is how Sid is, they mentioned Sid is Clive's mentor, or acts like Clive's mentor in the game. And it looks like we're going to get to fight alongside Sid. And I was trying to recall the last time you've actually fought with Sid in Final Fantasy. I think it might be Final Fantasy VII.
I haven't played...
All the other Sids since then have just been like NPCs.
Yeah, because
There's Headmaster Sid in Final Fantasy VIII. He's probably the unsexiest Sid.
There's the King Sid in Final Fantasy IX who turns into a...
Regent Sid.
Oglop.
Yeah, Regent. He spends most of the game as a bug.
Yeah.
He's quite sexy in his human form, though. He's quite a stately... He's got a great moustache.
He does have a great
Regent
moustache.
Sid.
He has a great moustache.
Yeah.
And then 10, he's the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
And then I haven't played 11, 12, 13, 14, or 15.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of Final Fantasy games. I'm getting
Rosie.
through them.
Yeah, 12. He's I think Balthier's dad in 12. Anyway, we won't dive into all the Sid lore. But
sorry, can I just say, James in the chat said, "It's getting late, Rosie. It's getting late," and I've been talking about sexy Sid.
What time is it? Oh, it's gone past 11 o'clock now.
That's my bedtime. I should be asleep by now.
Instead, you're up late talking about sexy Sid, voiced by Ralph Ineson. We should talk about other stuff. They confirmed as well. We should talk about the music. We should talk about the music.
God.
I feel like with every Final Fantasy, there are core things that you always look out for: story, characters, combat, music. The music is just sounds phenomenal. There's that track when the Eikons are fighting.
Yeah,
which
it's like
it feels like the signature.
It's the moment where it like calms down as well. It's like it's so good.
It's great. It feels like the theme. It feels like the theme. But Naoki Yoshida did confirm that a theme song has been written for Final Fantasy XVI by a Japanese musician, Kenshi Yonezu. So that is exciting as well. We now have extra info on that. Really looking forward to hearing what that theme song is like, because the theme songs are always so beautiful for Final Fantasy games.
It's and like I said, just when you're in the whole experience and you're fighting and then the music kicks in, it's genuinely just such a magical experience. Yes. Oh, it's so good. And also, Domino's just said that I have played Final Fantasy XIV, and you're right. I apologize, I have, but I never met Sid. So I don't know.
Yeah, we played Final Fantasy XIV.
We
and
did.
Our community gave us loads of money.
That was fantastic. Yeah, loads of money. And then Domino took us for a ride in his car.
That was
flying car.
What a stream that was.
That was a fantastic.
We couldn't get away from the community, could we?
We should do it again. You just went fishing and everyone went fishing with you. We should do it again.
I lost you, and then I was like, where's Rosie? Oh, there's Rose. Just a crowd of people leaping about. That was an amazing stream. Just a couple more things before we wrap up. There was something called the Areti Stone, which allows you to go to a practice arena, and there's also like an arcade style battle mode.
Yeah, that very interested me when it was like, oh, you can get your high score against other players. Yes. I was just like,
I know what you're going to be doing, Rosie.
No.
I know what you're going to be doing.
No. Yeah. Maybe. Yes.
And then we saw other things. We saw little glimpses of the hunts, which you've already talked about, with Otto the Moogle, I think, in charge of that. We saw a blacksmith where you can go and upgrade your weapons.
Yep.
So it's got all of the traditional exploratory, customizable character growth, role-playing elements that you would expect, just with this incredibly lavish cinematic world and battle system added on top. And it's Final Fantasy.
Oh.
And it's coming out so soon.
So soon. June.
Soon. June 22nd.
So soon.
Which is...
in June.
What's the date today? It's like 2 months and a week away.
That is like...
It's
so going to fly by. The time is... Like, wrap up any games you're currently playing. Make sure that your backlog and everything is sorted for this game, because it's just going to consume your life.
It is. My backlog will not be sorted, but it will be forgotten when Final Fantasy XVI comes out. Yes.
Everyone in the chat's just saying that I will be doing the arcade stuff. Ariel said it, and D3 Mystic said it.
You're like determined to mention Ariel every time you see her name. Now.
Ariel did say that they're more of a lurker than a member of the chat. So.
No, they're not. They're in the chat all the time, Rosie. Every stream. I see a comment from Ariel.
I love everyone in the community.
I know how much this is going to be eating you up.
Because I love everyone.
I think that is where we're going to leave it, Rosie, because I know it's past your bedtime.
It's past my bedtime.
And I am now tired from all of the excitement and the mammoth pizza we ate before the after party as well.
Yeah, literally, I'm getting
the sweats now.
The big pizza
the
sweats
are coming, yeah, and the Final Fantasy sweats, the Final Fantasy excitement sweats.
Good thing you didn't have the pizza whilst watching Final Fantasy. Then it would be like double whammy sweats.
It would be. But thank you very much, everybody, for staying up late to watch this special after party live stream. We really hope you enjoyed the Final Fantasy XVI State of Play. It looks spectacular, and well, it might not be late for you. You might live in an area of the world where it's the afternoon. In which case, hello. Enjoy your evening. Maybe it's the morning, in which case, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Maybe it's the middle of the night, in which case, go to bed.
Good night.
We're about to end the stream now. Thank you very much for joining us. We will be back with another video tomorrow and a podcast on Saturday. And more live streams, more live stream fun next week.
And also, just in the future, more Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, a lot more Final Fantasy 16. We've got some grand Final Fantasy 16 plans in store. I can't wait to make them show them to you all. But that is it for now. Rosie and I are going to power down.
I'm just going to fall asleep right here after the stream.
To sleep. Yes. But thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.